Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another... And the fucking neighbors are coming out just in time. Just in fucking time. Welcome back to another video about some wubs here. This is a track I put out about I don't know, a few weeks ago. And I thought it was pretty good example of what I can do these days. I know a lot of people were kind of, or at least I know some people were commenting on the last video I did, kind of asking like, what the hell is your effects chain, and like, you know, just what the hell you doing, because I didn't really know what I was doing, so some things looked a little weird, but I got a better grasp of things now. And I did some cool stuff in here. So yeah, this track is called Lost Ways, and I'll play the first kind of quarter of it so you can get an idea, and then I'll break some shit down, so take a listen. So for the kind of intro melody, I went through a ton of different melodies for this track when I was making it, and this one turned out to just kind of be my favorite, I guess. So I just kind of have this simple synth lead melody. And of course there's a ton of reverb and delay on there just to kind of fill things up. And I actually filled it up more with this synth that is just a really simple synth off massive, and it has ping pong delay on there, a bunch of it, so it basically just sounds like this. So then that just fills up the background of everything. So if I play it all together, then... And then, you know, you hear it in like the breaks where the lead is not playing, then you still hear the big delay of that synth. So that's basically why I put that in there. But as far as the bass goes, it's really just a simple, you know, pluck. That bass is basically just a texture for the actual bass on top of everything, which is this sub. And you're probably not going to hear it that well unless you have good speakers. But super good sub. It's actually my favorite one. It's a stock sub off Ableton, just called Hip Hop Sub Bass. And it's really freaking good. I use it for basically everything now. So that's the whole bass in this entire track. But yeah, and then I've got this kind of just horn thing going here, which is just a big French horn, I think. It just kind of, again, a lot of reverb on there to kind of just fill it up. Because it is kind of just a simple melody, so I did a lot of kind of filling with the reverbs and delays and things. And this is pretty much a major part of the track, the horn sample, which doesn't actually have a whole lot of reverb. Some parts has more reverb and more delay in kind of the breakdowns and things, but that's pretty much the gist of it. It's actually a horn sample from a some, you know, like lo-fi, or not a lo-fi, but like a trap drum kit or something. And it worked really well in this track for the intros and all that. And in the kind of break, you know, in the middle of the drop. So I really like that. And also for the build here, we have the transposed of it, you know, being pitched up, which sounds good in amongst all the drums. This is just a little, yeah, just some bells echoing there, which I use for all the kind of parts where there's no drum beats. And then these are just all of our sweeps and fills and things, which are just really handy to throw in there. And I always put just a little tiny bit of sidechain compression, just enough so you can still hear the kicks over everything and it doesn't like mush down the kicks, but you don't want it to be too sidechained because you still want it to be like a big impact. So up here we've got an ARP. This is part of the main drop though. Oh yeah. So that's the build, so there's an EQ there of it just kind of going up. And then in the drop we have and it's actually super quiet underneath everything. You hardly hear it when it's actually in the drop. Like you can only even hear it when you're really listening for it, but yeah, that's again just kind of to fill things and to give it kind of more of a drawn out melody, just so that it's not like just the dubstep basses. Let's look at the percussion here for the build. So we've got a ton of different percussion elements going on here. This is basically just the main snare in the breakdowns and stuff. And this is actually a snare from a Zomboy sample pack. Or not like a sample pack, but just a pack I downloaded of a bunch of his stuff. I don't think it was anything official, but you know, whatever. And then that gets transposed over here. And then up here we've got our kind of tom fills. This is where things start to sound kind of weird. So I've got some like percussion going here, which is from the pre-drop percussion in here, which I'll talk about, but this is basically what they sound like alone. So obviously that's a little weird, but in amongst all the other stuff, it sounds like a really cool drum line. So yeah, I like that. I really like that kind of drum roll element to the build up. Up here we've got another, I think, little trap snare. So that just goes on top of the other one, and then it's just a big long kind of transpose here, I think, or maybe not. No transpose, it's just kind of going and then it fades out here. So that's just kind of filling and adding more texture. But the pre-drop percussion is pretty cool. I used a bunch of Vengeance stuff and some Zomboy stuff and just kind of all put it in there, and some Getter toms, and then made this kind of cool thing. So just kind of some interesting percussion in here, and then kind of a classic Getter sounding drum fill before the drop. And then the pre-drop vocals are just kind of stuff from different packs. But yeah, let's talk about the main drums, because I did some different stuff here. I actually made my own kick for once. I made this kick using Kick 2, which is a plugin. It's a really cool plugin, but it definitely takes some learning. And you're better off just starting by taking pre-made kicks that are in the software and then kind of changing them and adding your own clicks and sounds in the backgrounds of stuff. See, this one I just kind of took the default kick and changed it around with the pitch and amp and whatnot, and then gave it more of kind of a high pass snap to it, which ends up sounding pretty good in the final cut. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, and then I, some compression and EQing on there just to kind of finalize it. But the snare is kind of a mixture of my own stuff and some pre-made stuff. It's kind of really more of a trap snare, but I thought it fit the project. I basically made it using kick 2 because you need kick 2 for snares as well. But that's basically all it is in kick 2 as far as my snare. I just kind of used a little snap from the actual kind of kick pattern and then put in a live drum snare that I recorded myself just for that kind of resonance, and then but then kind of layered that on top of this getter trap snare, which kind of gives it more of an impact, and then this is just a little kind of snap reverb that fills it up. But then altogether it does sound pretty good. So yeah, that's basically the snare, and then altogether we've got, the hi-hats are pretty simple. They're just kind of self-made loops with Vengeance stuff. And then some cool kind of snappy stuff. And some claps and vox in the offbeats. So together we get and then in each kind of little after the first verse, I guess, of basses, we get these cool kind of percussion two-step hits. I got this little I don't actually know what you'd call that. Thick electro analog, I guess, is what the sample's called. And then some percussion there, and that kind of, it gives a cool kind of pause in between the drop. And then I've got a really quiet getter hat loop in here too, which I used more for these kind of just little fills in between my hats, which just kind of fills it up more, and it sounded way better when I put it in, so I kind of just left it. Yeah, so we can look at a bit of the second drop. Yeah, so for each breakdown too, I've got kind of the main bass with an auto filter just going so that it sounds super kind of, low cut and low key. But it definitely adds to the build a whole lot, and I recommend you do that in like any build because it really does sound a lot better. For these breakdowns too, I have that same lead melody that I have in the melody parts, like, but then it's just EQ'd, I think, again, with auto filter or something like that. Actually, I don't think it is. Yeah, no, I just have it way quieter. It's -23 here, so it's super quiet, but then it's compressed to be a little bit louder to hear it, and it's 100% reverb, so it's just super wet and delayed and stuff. So then underneath everything, it just gives it that kind of echoed melody that kind of just reminds you of the main melody, I guess. Now, I only realized until after I made this how much it sounds like fucking Lights Out by Zomboy. I was just kind of working and doing whatever, and then I played it back and it sounded exactly like that, but I just left it because I really like this bass setup and this fast bass of the same one I made. Like, I still made it all. I didn't like steal any of the fucking basses he made or anything. Like, it just happens to sound a lot like it, but also put in these cool kind of vocal offbeats, which I think add to it. And then the drum beat, of course, changes here to a more trap, syncopated beat here, instead of just the normal, you know. But yeah, that's basically the gist of the second drop. Got some different vocals in here too, like these kind of laugh things, which I thought sounded kind of cool in it. But yeah, all the basses are made by me. You know, when I listen back to this, I do kind of realize that I should have maybe toned down the minus a little bit here. It's a little high, and I realized when I listened to this track in with headphones, it kind of sounds insane. So I think if I had toned this down to maybe like 40, that would have been a little bit better. I just kind of like the wideness it gets when you turn the wetness up a lot on this, but I still think that sounds a little bit cleaner. Yeah, after the second drop, we basically just kind of get some cool drum effects in this mini kind of breakdown with some kind of bongo stuff. And then it gets into kind of a long before the build thing here. And I added in this cool little percussion loop that I made, again, just out of kind of piecing together Vengeance percussion, which I think sounds really cool in here to kind of like get that kind of essence of like things are speeding up. That's kind of what I get from it. And then another build, and then it goes into kind of just the classic third or second drop, where the drums are kind of off for the first group of basses. It's honestly kind of an overused tactic at this point, but I still kind of like the way it sounds for kind of a finale drop. You want to kind of keep that same level of how would I explain this? Like, you want to like not oh my god, I want to die. Like, you don't want the drops to be completely different, but you want it to be the placements can be like, you want the placements of the basses to be different, but it's still kind of the same setup as the other ones. That's the best way I can explain it, I think. So then, like, it's the same, like, it's the exact same order of stuff, but it's kind of just different ways of doing it. If you want to listen to the full track, you can check it out on my SoundCloud page, along with all my other shit. Link is in the description for everything. The link for this track will be at the very top of the description, so check it out. Also, I recommend that you like my new page on Facebook, because I'm thinking of doing a lot of kind of exclusive stuff on there at some point. I know I've definitely got a kind of free sample pack in the works. I'm also probably going to do like a little giveaway thing, not a giveaway, but like a a download link that I post there with like just a folder of a bunch of unreleased stuff that you can have for free or whatever. Just kind of shit like that you might be interested in. I don't fucking know. But yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you're wondering anything, or if you thought the song was cool. Like the video if you want to see more stuff like this, because I'm totally down to do more music stuff for sure, and I've got a ton of like projects and new stuff. I started doing a lot more hip-hop beats, so if you're into that kind of thing, then you know I can do videos on that too. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.